Motivation for theme. It's my first time as Toastmaster, so I've got to check my checklist here. I need to know the helpers who we've got tonight. Lucinda's giving a talk, and also we have Rick giving a talk. Rick, are you going to be the first speaker today? Or?
I prefer to be the second.
I need to prepare a little. Just give me a couple of minutes.
Sorry, we also have educational from Judith.
Oh yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've got an educational from Judith, which is I apologise for that. As I say, this is my first time trying to get my act together.
All right, I'll be first prepared speech.
Okay, you'll be the first prepared speech, and then Linda, who's preparing now, will be the second prepared inverted commas speech. Now we have a timer. Who's the timer today? Can you tell us please what your role is?
My role as a timer is to monitor time during prepared speeches, and Lucinda as well. I'll be timing, although you're preparing now. And for table topics and evaluations. At the end of the meeting, I will give participants their time that they've used, and I will for Rick, it's about 15 to 20 minutes. I will show you green when you are at 18 minutes, and amber when you at 19 minutes, and red until you finish speaking when you 20 minutes. And for evaluations, for listeners, 5 to 7 minutes.
One's 5 to 6. Yep. Was something to 8. I don't know.
Okay, while she's checking. For if the event 5 to 7. Okay, so at 5 minutes I'll show green. At 6 minutes I'll show amber. At 7 minutes I'll show red up until you finish speak. And for the evaluators we have 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes I'll show green and amber at 2.5 and 3 until you finish speak. For table topics you have 1 to 2 minutes. At 1.5 minutes I'll show green. At 2 minutes I'll show at 1 minute I'll show green. At 1.5 I'll show amber. At 2 minutes I'll show red up until you finish speak. And you all have plus or minus 30 seconds additional grace. Thank you.
Okay, the next role player is the vote counter. And we've got 2 speeches. We're going to try and assess who gave the best speech. Who's the vote counter today? Have we got one?
Going. Sure, got my mouthful.
That's right. I think and I'll help you. We'll work out.
Thank you.
And then 3 is the grammarian. Who's the grammarian today? Zoe?
My role as grammarian today is to take note of good and bad use of the English language and then report back on that after the meeting, and then to also count crutch words like ums, ahs, so's used in prepared speaking and then in the unprepared section as well, and report back on that after the meeting. Adrian, do you want to do meaning of the word of the day, or should I do it? Should I do it? Okay. Our word of the day is just to increase and then better our language used and our English vocabulary. So our word of the day, which you are encouraged to use in all of your speeches and unprepared speaking, is calamity, that he has put up for you. Calamity is a noun that means an event causing great and often sudden damage or distress, a disaster. I will also count the use of the word of the day and then report back on that after the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
And then where are we? The R counter. Who's counting the R's?
Yeah.
Hey, Johan, thank you very much. Okay. I think on the agenda we've got Judith, you're going to do a presentation for us. Educational presentation. I think we all know Judith very well. She's been a Toastmaster for how many years?
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay, Judith, thank you very much. Over to you.
Right. Pathways is the new educational path. There are a number of pathways and they're all very informative. I've got on to finishing my level 3 of my first path, which is the motivational pathway, and I found it an interesting adventure. Not everybody realizes how much is involved in doing research for projects, just breaking the ice with an audience so that you get to know the person who's talking to you. Icebreakers are repeated in every pathway, so you've got a wonderful opportunity to get out all your deadly secrets and let everybody know about them. This isn't working. It was before. Right.
It's switched on.
It is switched on for change. You start, as with every path, at base camp. So imagine you're going up Mount Everest. Base camp has a navigator. And in base camp, you're encouraged to start off by finding out what you are good at. So you do a self-assessment, and it will give you 3 options, of which you can choose 1 or you can choose 2. I don't suggest you try 3 at once. I'm busy looking at getting onto my second pathway, but I haven't got there yet. When you've done your self-assessment and you've chosen your first pathway, you're encouraged to then go through an assessment of your speaking skills, your ability to communicate with an audience, to do voice changes, so vocal variety, actions, etc. So we've got 5 areas: navigating base camp, my educational transcript, which becomes part and parcel of your pathway, my feedback, and you can encourage people within the club to go onto pathways and look at your profile and give you their feedback. My badges. We haven't really been doing that in South Africa. Some people have been giving badges, but they've been running it longer. So they'll give badges for a particularly good speech or a particularly good piece of research. And finally, your speech evaluator can put in speech evaluations for you, or you can copy from the evaluation you get and put it into the evaluations. Once you've done your icebreaker, you then move on to a speech which involves a particular topic which you can choose around your path. So for instance, when I did my first one, I spoke about how Earth Life Africa had changed over the years and how they had turned themselves around from a failing organization because of an inability to audit their financials into an amazing organisation that our program director won an international prize for her work on the nuclear situation. I did that speech. I then did an evaluation of somebody else's speech, and I repeated around the same area as the end of my level 1. I can't remember what that speech was about, but it was in the same phrase. Level 2, you do 2 speeches. Oh, and also in level 1 you do some research and report on your research work. Level 2 you do another 2 speeches. Level 3 you do another 2 speeches. And I've just completed level 3. I have had a bit of a calamity because I've got a new laptop, and for some reason I can't get onto Toastmasters International site anymore. Navigator is essential. It gives you information about your journey, how you're going to proceed, what you're going to do. And it also tells you a vital piece of information. And Windows 10 is very good at this because it actually pops it up as well, just to remind you. You must disable your pop-up blocker because pathways will not work with pop-ups blocked. So make sure that you disable that. It answers questions, it guides you. When you start your journey and you've done your initial assessment and worked out how good a speaker you think you are and where you need to improve, at the end of level 1, you do an assessment on how you have grown as a speaker. Each time you start a level, you're asked the same information. So it keeps on going, looking at you, asking you to self-assess yourself on a regular basis. Have you understood this? Have you understood, in my level 2, emotional intelligence? Getting to know how to control yourself. It was the most useful thing I've ever actually done recently, because having done that assessment and looked at tools that I could use for EQ, I had a fall, broke my left femur, and ended up in hospital. I think I would probably have completely lost it if I hadn't done that EQ preparation. Because A, it was very sore, and B, beware of opioids, because they gave me very strong ones for anesthetic, and then they carried on with them. And I started hallucinating, which Rick will back me up on, because I rang him up at about 11 o'clock one night and said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "I'm in bed, I'm not talking about anything. Could you leave me alone?" And I actually thought that I was moving between the hospital room and the house. So the next morning I said, "I've got this problem," and they took me off that particular painkiller. But at least I got back into resource, which is very necessary even as a speaker. Right. So you open your curriculum, you view the work in your projects folder, and you open up the first information about your speech. You can print all of that out, and this is actually the cheapest way to do it. It's also the best way to do it if you know about our postal service. We were supposed to have received a parcel in October. It has done a full circuit of South Africa, and it's going back to the original sender. So it's been pretty useless. You can print out all that information. It will give you the evaluators' sheets for feedback. It will give you what your project is, its aims are, and it will then give you the ability to schedule your speech with your VPE and then present. You get your evaluation back, you can put it into your evaluations. Some projects do take longer than others. And always make sure, as I said earlier, your pop-up blockers are off. Right. Questions? There's a new pathway which is around humorous speaking, and people are really going for this. If you look on Toastmasters International's Pathways Facebook group, there's an awful lot of information there. And you can also email me for more information. Once you get to level 2, you are and complete it. You may participate in speech competitions, and you may also be a judge in a speech competition. It has been mooted for level 3 as a better level. However, Toastmasters International hasn't changed that. So it's staying as it is. You go to level 3, then you do level 4, and your final level to achieve your pathway is level 5. The really nice change in pathways is that at the end of each level, they send you a certificate saying you've achieved this. Whereas previously with the CC Competent Communicator program, you had to do 10 speeches before anybody gave you really good recognition. Bryanston's a bit special here because they give you a ribbon for being the best table topic speaker, the best speaker, and the best evaluator. So it's another reason to join Bryanston because you're getting ongoing acknowledgement in the club. Any questions? Yes.
Do the CC and CL manuals fall away at some stage, and if so, when?
They fall away in March next year. And then it becomes all pathways. So if you want to focus on finishing your CC and CL, please do. The 2 challenges with CL are to be a contest chair and also to help put together a contest or similar event. So look for opportunities there. And yeah.
Sorry, Judith, I interrupted you. Do you want to finish first?
So look within Bryanston Breakfast Club, who wants to finish a CL, and can you work with them as helping them put the competition together or as the contest chair? The thing that always annoys me is you can go and judge, but you never get anything for that. Harold.
Judith, I wonder if you can just for the sake of the visitors who don't know Toastmasters at all, just give a brief explanation of the difference between the CC, which is Competent Communicator, and then the pathways, how it differs and what you're trying to achieve with pathways.
The Competent Communicator, which is going to fall away next year, gave you 10 speeches as projects to complete. It included building blocks all the way up. With pathways, you get, I think, a higher degree of self-awareness than you did in Competent Communicator because of all the assessments you're doing and the fact that you are evaluating your own progress given the feedback that you've had. So it does become a learning process and a self-development process with self-feedback. And that makes it quite focused on looking at what are my results. The Competent Leader Program gives you projects to do as well. It's also got 10 projects with various roles to take on. You can, in Pathways, take on very similar roles. Evaluation counts. Being a contest chair will eventually count. I've got to go through all of those processes, but it doesn't stop you finishing the CO. And I've been intending to finish the CO before June. So it's different. It's differently organized. The pathways themselves will look at leadership roles, team management roles, team development roles. How do you grow a team? How do you build a team? How do you motivate a team? It's all in there, but it's in different paths. So you can choose which direction you take to go up that mountain. I've got a friend in London who's just done her DTM, and she's the first distinguished Toastmaster in Pathways in the world. And if you think you're too old to start it, she's 73.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
What do you say, you self-assess, or how do you tell the system what you've done, or who does that?
The VP or the secretary or the president goes and puts in the completion of your project at each level.
So you don't do it yourself?
No, you don't do it yourself. You do your self-assessments and your self-evaluations, and then you tell the VPE, unless you're the VPE, in which case you have to tell the president or the secretary, and they will then complete that level. And you will then get your certificate and start the next one, because you can't go from one level to the next without having been signed off by a club officer.
Just one thing I'd like to add, sorry, because I've been moving through it and I've become good friends with this Pathways, but I started with Pathways, is the fact that you've also got to submit your evaluations, you've got to scan and submit as well. Because they also allocate things according to that, and your club must check that you actually are putting it through. And they must also see discrepancies. If you're telling yourself you're fantastic at everything, and they see, whoops, maybe you're not, it's the discretion of them to say, so I think it's very hands-on in a club. It should be quite hands-on. I certainly work a lot with the committee where I am, and there's a lot of feedback with that.
And it's a group process, because although there's the evaluator, there's still the support within the club for feedback from everybody else. So you don't have to stand alone, and you can get other evaluations loaded on your pathway.
Judith, the EQ you were speaking about, what's it, emotional
It's actually emotional intelligence.
intelligence?
They
Okay.
call it.
Did you have to give a speech on that, or was it just an assessment, or how did it work?
It was an assessment. It wasn't impacted. It didn't have a direct impact on the speech, but it was a learning experience, and I got a lot of value out of it.
So what, just an online learning experience?
Yes,
Basically.
a whole process that you go through, looking at how you react to certain situations, etc.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that presentation. It was particularly appropriate to me in terms of I'm just coming to my CC10, and I definitely want want to get onto pathways. And it was encouraging to know that the world champion, as far as pathways, was 73 years old, so there's hope for a 75-year-old. And I got a wonderful mentor with Johan, who's even older than I am. So let's move on to the next talk, which Rick is going to give to us. And it's a speech. It's all about a keynote address to the Humanist Academy of Limpopo. So this is an interesting sort of structure of a speech. So Rick, over to you.
My evaluator.
Oh yes, sir. Evaluator. Mandy, you're the evaluator. Can you just tell us the role you play?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Rick is speaking out of the professional speaker, and it is Project 1. It's called the Keynote Address. I'm going to read the executive summary and the objectives. The executive summary: a keynote speaker establishes a rapport with the audience in order to galvanize them. Match your delivery style to the tenor of the event, whether it's a celebration, serious, or somewhere in between. Project your confidence and authority to arouse your audience interest. Use drama to make abstract ideas tangible and inspire listeners to apply your ideas to their lives. The objectives are to identify the basic differences between keynote speeches and other kinds of speeches, to learn how to evaluate audience feeling and establish an emotional rapport, to learn and use the professional techniques necessary for a successful keynote presentation, and to develop a speech style and deliver that effectively inspire and move the audience to adopt your views as a collective reaffirmation of its own. Your time is 15 to 20 minutes.
Thank you, Mandy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of faculty, staff, parents both of our existing students, some of whom are sitting behind me on the stage tonight, graduating, our first graduates, and parents who are looking at the Academy as a possibility for educating their children, and then potential students themselves. Welcome everybody to the Humanist Academy of Limpopo. This, our first graduation ceremony, is the culmination of a decade-long dream. 3 years in planning, 3 years in construction, which turned into 4.5 years in construction. We gave new meaning to the Japanese concept of just in time. We made it just too late. And officially starting after the 3 years of preparation and 3 years of construction, 4 years of teaching and learning for our students. You've heard of learning on the job. For the first 1.5 years, we were learning on a construction site. So it's been a long process, and I'm very honored to be able to present to you the keynote address tonight at our first graduation ceremony. Simon Sinek says, start with why. Tell people why you are doing things, not how you are doing things or what you are doing. Because if you tell them why you are doing it, you will inspire them and get them to follow you. And he cites Martin Luther King. He says, Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream," not "I have a plan." Let me therefore tell you what our dream was in starting this academy. Our aim was nothing less than to produce citizens for the 21st century and the 22nd century. Well-rounded, well-educated people who will be able to take a leading position in society, capable of dealing with the challenges, the calamities that life will throw at them in a completely unknown future. And the rules are changing in the future. We don't know what is going to take place. Our students, as was perhaps the case in the past, can't expect to walk into a family business. And for those of you who've been watching the State Capture Commission, I would like to emphasize that the government is not a family business. Margaret Thatcher said, and I'm going to misquote her here, she said with reference to socialism, but it applies to government in general, that after a while you run out of other people's money. The future depends on private enterprise and people being able to run businesses. I'll come back to that. I want to address the question of why we chose Limpopo, one of the poorest provinces in the country. It would have been so much easier to hire a dilapidated warehouse in Marlborough and start up there. But would that have aligned with our goals? Goals of setting an example. Goals of giving people not just a technical education, but an ethical education. An education that would set them apart from people who want to practice state capture. An education that would make them true ethical, responsible leaders. We thought not. We thought that we needed to set an example of uplifting society. And so we chose this small town in Limpopo without great infrastructure, and in building here we have contributed to the infrastructure. Construction has already helped to turn around the local economy, and our presence here will continue to support the local economy as they supply us with food, sustenance, services for the academy. In doing so, we believe that we are making a difference as we would like our graduates to make a difference to society. And we've seen that influence extend. For example, there is now a regular bus service to this town, and there's hope that we will actually get a rail service. Why then an academy? We offer a university level degree, but let me give you a little bit of background. My alma mater is the University of Witwatersrand, commonly and affectionately known as WITS, and WITS started as the Kimberley School of Mines in 1896, when, by the way, my father was 1 year old. In 1904, it moved to Johannesburg. In 1922, it became a university. their centenary is 3 years away. Now, we didn't want to claim that sort of heritage for an upstart little university college in Limpopo. We felt that would not reflect true humility, and therefore we rather called ourselves an academy. But academies also have an illustrious history. The original academy was founded by the Greek philosopher Plato back in ancient Greece. And we like the connotation, the connection with that academy, because we will also, along with our technical education, be teaching philosophy. Why then humanism? Humanism is a philosophy that puts people first, puts living creatures first, puts the planet first. It's important for us that our students, although they will be well equipped with science, with technology, should consider living creatures, the humans that they are planning for when they do their jobs. If they're going to be doing engineering, they should be considering the people for whom the engineering is being created, for whom the bridges and roads are being built, for whom the dams are being constructed. The effects on the environment. Humanism, therefore, is an important part of our curriculum. And along with that, we build in elements of the philosophy of Stoicism, also originating in ancient Greece, practiced by philosophers like Epictetus and the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. A philosophy of fortitude, of resilience, of being able to weather the calamities that life throws at us. A philosophy that says that the obstacle is the way. The thing that is getting in the way of us doing something is actually there to teach us, for us to overcome, and for us to become better people. That then is why we chose these philosophies. Philosophies grounded in realism. And that's one of the things, that's what we hope to do here at HAL. You'll have noticed that our initials spell out H-A-L. And for those of you who have a long memory or were interested in the films, movies of the 1960s and 70s, you may remember a film called 2001: A Space Odyssey by a director called Stanley Kubrick. And in that film, HAL was the computer on the space probe that went to, I think it was to Jupiter. And HAL had an unfortunate history because HAL turned on his humans, killed several of them, and was decommissioned as a result. As HAL Mark II, we hope to redeem this calamity, this conflict between machines and humans, by establishing a society, an academic society, and our graduates going out into society in general, that will be a synergy of humans and machines working together for the betterment of the planet and for people in general. It's been said that the future is not what it used to be. If I think back to my own education at university, it was a 4-year degree. It was BSc in engineering, civil engineering, and it focused on equipping me to be a junior engineer walking into an existing company and functioning at the lowest level of engineering. There was no idea in my course of equipping us with a knowledge of law, of the environment, of ethics, of business. The idea was, as we made our way up the rungs of the ladder of our companies, we would learn these things. We cannot guarantee that to the graduates of today, that they will be able to walk into a job. Very possibly they will need to build their own ladder as they climb the rungs. Which means that they need to be equipped with these things that I was never equipped with at university. We need to give them, first of all, very good technical knowledge, knowledge based on the best understanding that humanity has of reality, which means a knowledge based on science, on repeatable experiment, on peer review. It's, as the author Douglas Adams said, all very well to believe that there are fairies in the bottom of your garden, but that's not reality. It's reality to see that the garden is beautiful without investing it with the fairies. So we aim to give our students the best technical and scientific knowledge, which includes a background in evolution, for example, which is the foundation of all modern science, in medicine, in biology, in genetics, a foundation in engineering, if that is the direction they want to go in. We also need to talk to them about business, how to run a successful business, because it's entirely possible that next year they'll be running a startup, the following year a small business, and in years to come perhaps multinational corporations. We like to take as one of our models one of the well-known sons of South Africa, Elon Musk, who more or less taught himself engineering and now runs several highly successful companies. And then we also want to give people a grounding in the philosophy, in the ethics, so that they will not be there just for the profit, for the exploitation of the resources, but to practice well, to become better people, to enrich humanity and the world. Now, you might say this is a lot to cram into a four-year degree, and yes it is. In fact, with such a wide scope, we weren't quite sure what to call this degree, so we settled on a BSc with business as a compromise. And it's been a great challenge to cram this amount in. So I'm very grateful to the students who have decided they would like to stay on for postgraduate work, because that will enable us to refine our ideas and deepen their education. Some of you will be going out into the world and practicing what we've taught you. And we believe that you are our best hope for the world with what we've equipped you. I'm also very grateful that we've had some help and not had to do it on our own, because all the knowledge, the technical skills, will be of no use to our graduates if they cannot communicate. it will not be useful to them to lead a team of one. They will need to be leaders of larger teams. I'm grateful, therefore, to Toastmasters for having established a club here in the very first year and taken our members, both our members of staff and also particularly our students, through some of the Toastmasters program. I believe that this will equip them very well for the future to be both communicators and leaders of society. Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created the problem. We hope to have equipped our graduates with a higher level of thinking that will enable them to overcome the problems, the calamities that we, the older generation, have created for them. That they can take as the obstacle that is the way to their growth. Hence, while we say that the future may not be what it used to be, that professions that exist now will not exist in 10 years' time, and there are professions now that didn't exist at the turn of the century, our graduates will be reasonably well equipped to make their own professions, to change professions as things evolve. We see many trends today, mega trends, artificial intelligence, computers, robotics coming together, climate change that needs to be addressed. We believe our graduates are very well equipped to tackle these challenges. So if the future is not what it used to be, as graduates, we believe that you are our best hope for the future. Chair.
Thank you very much, Rick. That was certainly an inspirational one. I'm very tempted now to sort of Google if there is a college, university, or academy called something like the Royal College of Science, Technology and Ethics. I really love that presentation. So we've got another speech, haven't we, from Lucinda? Are you all prepared? Still in the process of preparation. Mandy,
Who's doing the evaluation? Dan.
Yes.
oh yeah, Dan, so you're doing the evaluation.
I'll have to be informed as to what objective is evaluated. I would use
Was it pathway 1 and 4? Anybody have?
pathways 1.
I don't have my valuation. I'm trying to find my valuation sheet for you from it. Speech corporate feedback. What is this one? I'm trying to find one of my last evaluator's notes, and then you can have it. I normally have them all here.
What path is it?
So it is you have to research a topic.
Research a topic.
And it's a 5 to 7 minute. And I've moved on from it.
No.
I don't remember it anymore. I'm just trying to find who let me just find it. Here's Marlene. Here we go. Purpose of the statement. Here you can just pass it back. That's my valuation sheet for it. And then the normal exemplary, the skills you have to do. Eye contact, vocal variety.
Alright. You ready?
Yeah, I have to be ready. Born ready.
Okay, Lucinda. I can't remember what the title was going to be. So.
Live it, love it, sell it.
Okay, over to you, and thank you very much.
Darren, what do you want to tell us?
Oh, the
Yes,
objectives, yes, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. The purpose statement of this project is for the member to learn and review the basics of research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. That's it.
Okay. Fabulous.
These things are in one's way. Oh, it is a calamity when you get put on the stage in a foreign club and you get opportunity to speak. Let's get on with it. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster guests, today's topic is live it, love it, and sell it. Now, how many people here fear sales? I'm hoping by the end of this that I absolutely facilitate something within your own being that you learn to fall in love with sales and you see it from a whole new perspective, and that is what it's all about, is in this particular speech that I'm going to give you. Now, I met the author of the book Live It, Love It, Sell It, Jules White, from Milton Keynes in the UK some years back, and here was a lady that inspired me right from the beginning. I entered into one of her challenges online, and it was all about sales, and I went, hell yeah, I know sales well, I'm a top salesperson. And I went in kind of gung-ho, I had this kind of cocky attitude going in, I'm going to beat all of you, I mean, no one can teach me anything about sales. But what I didn't realize, that she had something, there was an ingredient, there was a magic in her formula for teaching sales that I needed absolutely within my own life. You see, for all my years of sales, I went in determined, I went in willfully, and it was a bit of a push, and I used a lot of convincing in my sales. Now that is how most people perceive sales, and that's why a lot of people fear sales, is that pushy stuff that comes at you. Those amount of phone calls we get every day, trying to sell us another cell phone contract, or they're trying to sell us more insurance, or they're trying to sell us something down our throat. Every shop we go to, every magazine, every time we open social media, somebody's trying to convince us that we need what they sell. But through all of this, there was one thing always missing. So you've mentioned Simon Sinek, the big why. Yes, that's all great, knowing the why. But Jules took it one step forward. And I just want to say as well about Jules is that she, number one, is a dragon slayer, which I think is remarkable. One of the first ever dragon shows for BBC, and she went in and she won it for whatever entrepreneur companies that she had at the time. Number two, she's the author of a book, Live It, Love It, Sell It. She's also just done a TEDx, a very inspirational TEDx called There Is No Word Called Can't. There is no word called can't, and I love that about her. Is she believes in life. If you want something in life, you can go and get it. It's all a mindset. So she teaches the human conversation, the human sell. And ladies and gentlemen, every day of your life, you sell. Every day you're going out in the world and people are buying into who you are. They either like you or they don't like you. It's about how you come across and what you put out into the world. And this is the gist of her work in the book, her Live It, Love It, Sell It. So let's get on with the 3 points. Live it. Live it is all about your mindset. Are you fit to travel the sales road and journey? And I'm taking you through that journey today. We're traveling through, and I'm going to take you through, as with her book, the 3 steps. Your mindset, are you confident? Are you positive? Because if I'm going to go out into the world, think about it even going into social engagement. Me coming into your club today, can you imagine if I came in and I was all grumpy and I'm all mopey and I'm all unhappy? Would you want to connect with me? No. You want to connect with someone that's upbeat, positive, and you go, hell yeah, I really like that person. I want to talk to them. I like them. I like their energy. So that's the start of it, is when we've got a positive way and about our own selves and our life, we immediately are one step ahead in the sales process. Without even trying to sell, You've now moved through step number 1. You've got to conquer the fear and the sales myths that you've got in your own mind. Because this is where it all goes wrong for us. We get caught up in the negativity because in this world, everybody's trying to sell their stuff. But they're not selling from themselves. It's not a human. We're not connecting to their heart. I have a thing on Facebook. If you befriend me on Facebook and you send me immediately something to join your group or to try and sell something, I block you, you are out. So we need to remember that in our sales game. Number 2 is love it. And the whole thing is about know your why. Why do you love what you do? And I hope that you all are doing what you love to do in your day, because that comes across in the world. If I'm passionate, if I'm excited, if I'm inspired, then I have got into the second level. I'm way through the sales process without even trying to sell anything. So when you know your why, you fired up about why you do what you do. The world around you, people around you, want to know more about what you do. That's a fact. On a third topic, number 3, is sell it. You've got to know your clients' why. Why do they want to buy what you've got? You've also got to know their pain. What's the pain they're going through? What is the hell they're going through? What is holding them back from being what they want to and getting where they want to in life? And also understand the solution that you're giving them. What can you offer them that can solve this for them? Because that is what they're looking for. They're looking for a solution. Nobody's going to split with that money unless they know for a fact you've got something that they don't have. That's what they buy into. And becoming visible, being yourself. Just be you. Be really and truly who you are every day. That's it. Don't be fake. People don't want to buy from fake or false. They want to buy from real people with heart connection. So in Live It, I've taught you about being fit and ready for the sales journey. In Love It, the plan, the road ahead. Why do you do what you do? Number 3 was Sell It. The pain and solution, the outcome solution you can offer your client. And on that note, the biggest thing in life is people buy from people, they trust. There's the point. So I hope here's to a new generation of sales, and here is to live it, love it, and sell it.
Okay, let's, okay, I've just got to check my checklist in terms of what we should do next. After the speeches, ask the timer for reports on, hang on, let's ask the timer for his or her report and request that ballots be passed to the vote counter. Can you all sort of decide who was the best speaker?
There are lots to remember.
Yeah.
There were lots.
And then, Linda, you're the general evaluator. Am I right? Okay. And our counter. Who's the our counter?
Yeah.
How many hours did you go?
The first 3 speakers, none. Really well done.
Well done. And the grammarian?
That comes later.
Okay.
Timekeeper's report now for the speeches.
Okay, timekeeper's report for the speeches.
Okay, Rick, 20 minutes, 10 seconds. Lucinda, 7 minutes, 10 seconds. And Judith, we decided here with Mr. President that we time you. And we have allocated 15 to 20 minutes, but you have done 17 minutes, 20 seconds. Thank you.
Okay. I'm want to say thanks for all those who've been doing their jobs, the timekeepers and the grammarians and everything else. Thank you very much. I think, shall we take a break now?
Sure, yeah.
Whilst just 10 minutes. Whilst the evaluators. 15 minutes, okay.
That was impressive.
Okay.
So what? So does that mean we meet at 11?
We meet at 11:45.
Good.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It was a bit of a... It's good to do that. It's just yourself under a bit of pressure. So it helps. All these things help. Every calamity becomes an opportunity.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. I've started work again now.
Just stop giving them like
Yeah.
I've changed the I went to
You're old, eh? Yeah, very silly. Well, when something makes me Greek philosophy, I was like, yeah, that's yeah, that's what I explained to him. And my student was Aristotle. I was lost. I don't know philosophy, that's why I came.
Where are you from, man?
So originally born in Bryanston, but I've been here for about 20 years.
You haven't lost your accent. Why do you want to use it?
It's like I think it's
Come on, Karen. You don't have a choice, Daniel.
That's fine. I'm going to go to my two and then I'm going to stand up and time. Harold, are you fine? No pressure. Harold, table tucker.
Into an opportunity to be heard and seen, and it keeps me on my feet.
Turning misfortune into opportunity sure was a challenge for Judith last year, and you bounced back over and over again, and it's wonderful to see your recovery. Adrian, it's your turn.
Okay, I had two choices here. Two choices. Opportunity often comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. Now, the one that attracted me, I see my life as an unfolding set of opportunities to awaken. I think that's the one for me. And I'd like to sort of go back and when I was a child of about 8, and we moved, I was living in Bristol, and then we moved to London, and I didn't do very well at school. I failed my 11 plus examination. I didn't qualify for going to a grammar school. And my father never ever gave up about me, and he sent me to a independent grammar school up there for a couple of years, and then he persevered a little bit more. He found out that there was a technical school that would allow me to do A-levels, and then I was inspired. So my father gave me that opportunity, and I had opportunities in terms of tremendous teachers, dedicated teachers, and that got me to university, and that was a wonderful opportunity for me, and I was able to stay on and do a PhD in sort of fundamental physics. And then I was wondering, what shall I do next? What shall I do next? And I had the opportunity to meet up with Brian Mayer. I actually tutored him for a while. Maybe guitarist. I'm always telling anybody that about that. Anyway, the most important thing now is that I've retired, but I've started work again. I've got opportunity to keep on enjoying life, doing lots of new things, spiritually as well as scientifically. And my life has been an endless run of opportunities. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'm going to grab those. Thank you, Adrian. Zoe is our final speaker who has volunteered, and after that I still have 20 minutes to go. So there's part 2 of impromptu speaking coming up shortly. Zoe. I was told.
Go.
Zoe. Thank you very much.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and visitors. My topic this morning is luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. How many of you have ever seen someone achieve something great, or somebody standing on a stage and you think, wow, how lucky has that person been, or how lucky they are to be there when you did not get to be there? I have a picture on my phone that I will share with you what luck came to look like in my world in May last year. It took a ton load of preparation when I qualified after competing in my first fitness competition to stand on international stage at the Arnold's Classic in May 2018. My luck started turning in January, on the 20th of January 2018, and behind the scenes my preparation was 2.5 hours of training every single day. My diet, my first meal for the day, was a protein shake at 1 in the afternoon after 90 minutes of training. Then I had a cup of raw broccoli at 3 in the afternoon, and it's as horrible as it sounds. And in the evening, I had 2 chicken breasts, which was 200 grams of chicken breast, a tin of tuna in vegetable oil, and 1 slice of pineapple. No cheat meal, nothing for 20 weeks, till the 19th of May. When I stood on stage, I placed 4th, and a lot of people told me how lucky you are to get in that position. And then, ever so gratefully, I can show them the pictures of what luck looks like in my world.
Whoa.
Which I worked for 20 hard weeks. Then you get this lucky.
Yes, so you
I was there.
So that is what you look like when preparation meets opportunity and you get lucky. Madam Toastmaster.
So, one of the hardest things to do in impromptu speak. Well, one of the hardest things in public speaking is impromptu speaking, which is why you very seldom get a lot of volunteers to play this part of the day for an hour long. So I had 4 people who were prepared to take the chance, and we're going to encourage you all now to come to the back of the room and volunteer by choosing a topic that might catch your attention to help us use the next 15 minutes of the meeting. Come to the back, everyone.
If we've already given a speech,
Even if you're giving a speech, come do it again.
Let's go.
Have a look.
You go first. Right?
Wow.
I'm right here.
Very quick, no? Time.
Not serious, promise. Come on, have a look. Have a look. Have a look. Have a look. Get up. You don't have to choose. Just have a look. Just have a look. Just have a look. Just have a look. If you like a selected, chosen topic. Come on, Annika, you can do this.
I'll take your
Just have a look. Have a look at step 1.
Come on, Annika.
No, I can't keep up.
I'll keep calm with you.
For you when you
It's my role for the day.
Okay, I'm going to ask you You got 30 more seconds, people.
I see that work, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a good timekeeper.
Wait.
You do not have to choose anything. All right, everyone, let's sit down again. Have a look, Nancy. Okay, how many people voluntarily picked up a piece of paper? Who's ready to start speaking? There we go. I do not know your name, apologies. Anae. Anae? Anae. Anae, come up to the front while the rest of them take their seats. Hi there. So the topic which I chose is I can. You choose to be can't do it. When I introduced myself to you, I made you aware that I'm a person who has a stutter. I studied part-time and I did really good and I managed to qualify as a chartered accountant. My first job interview after that was at R&B. My speech was so bad that it was a written interview. I've put in 14 years of very hard work and here I am today. So there's no such thing as can't. With dedication and hard work, we can all accomplish what we initially believed we cannot do. That is an amazing journey you've been on. And welcome to Toastmasters. You better sign up soon because you're going to have fun here. Who's next? Who's next and ready? The people who electively chose a piece of paper. Come on, you chose it. That means you want to come up here. Johan. Let's welcome Johan.
If I don't know what to say, I've just got to talk for 3 minutes.
1 to 2. Johan, would you? 1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2.
1 to 2.
Not 3. Okay. Opportunities are like sunrise. If you wait too long, you miss them. And I did a speech the other day, one of my advanced speeches, about how the Manx cat lost its tail. Anyway, Noah built this ark, and it started to rain. To cut a long story short, Noah and his family got all the animals aboard the ark except this cat. Bloody cat was sitting outside the hatch, and the rain's coming down, the water's rising, and Noah says, "Get in here, you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cat." And the cat just went, continued washing, ignored him. And Noah said, "This is your last call. I'm going to knock the pins out and let the hatch fall." And the cat still ignored him. So Noah knocked the pins out and the hatch came crashing down, but the cat died, as only cats can do. That was just a fraction too late, and the hatch came down on the cat's tail. So the tail was outside and the cat was inside. The cat didn't make use of the opportunity to get in when Noah presented the opportunity. So it missed the opportunity and it lost its tail.
Who is my next impromptu? Oh, Lucinda.
Keep on looking at me. No, please God.
And then it will be Lucinda.
I've already spoken.
I did. Hermit, over to you.
CC1.
Failure is only the opportunity to begin again. Only this time more wiser. That is me. When I started at my work, I failed so many times. And I thought, what should I do better? And I decided to join Toastmasters. And joining Toastmasters makes me gain confidence and I become more wiser. Maybe that's why I've been promoted. Thank you to Toastmasters. Thank you.
You said so.
Okay. Just keep on talking.
Keep on talking. Thank you.
Take this thing out of the way.
Oh, apologies.
Don't you dare give up. Ever, ever give up. You know that picture of the bird with the fish in the mouth? And there's no ways in heck that fish is going to come up. And the saying below it is don't ever give up. If you are sitting here today, you've got life. If your heart is beating, if you're able to breathe, you have life. You have a reason to be here. You are meant to be here. And that is enough reason to actually want to live and never, ever, ever give up. Now, I went through a year ago, I lost everything. My car, my home, I lost everything I owned in my whole drive online to be this great entrepreneur. Flattened out, went to my ashes, I was done deal. And I actually, every morning used to want to give up. But there was something that made me every day realize that I was still living. There was still reason, there was still hope, there was a glimmer of something for me every morning to get up and to make an impact and change in this world. Because that is what is in my heart, is to be a change maker on this planet Earth. And every day I got up, I used a lot of appreciation and gratitude for what was good, even though I was falling apart. And I recreated my life. And it comes down to you. If you ever feel like giving up, you are your biggest asset. And you can actually make the change and make the life that you wish for and that you desire for. It really is up to you. And in life, you can give up. You can go and you can lie, you can wallow, you can be like a pig lying in the mud, or you can rise up and you can be that change in the world. And my biggest thing, don't ever give up.
Inspiring story, Cinda. So well done on your change that's happened in the last year. And I do think that most of us are here because in us is that immense desire not to give up. And we all have challenges, and we're here because we're refusing to give up, and we want to conquer certain fears and take certain learnings. I really appreciate that. Anyone else? Up for the chat? I have a volunteer. Come on up. To be here. I've forgotten your name.
Renee.
Renee.
Yes.
Everyone, welcome Renee.
I chose a quote. I always try to turn every every disaster into an opportunity. And thank you for this opportunity to rant. When your brother-in-law tells you, do you want to get some breakfast? Be very wary. I always try to turn every disaster into an opportunity. Is a philosophy I actually try to live by. I think the Chinese, or I hope it's Chinese, proverb that goes along with it is the word for opportunity and disaster is the same in their language. So I always try to make turn it into an opportunity. You can hear this morning kicking and screaming against my will when he turned the wrong corner. And you could tell I'm nervous because when I usually start making jokes, hoping everyone else would be so distracted laughing, they won't notice. And I have a deal with Gugu that if I came up here, she'd be next. So, thank you very much for this opportunity to get back again.
And you are welcome to tell jokes anytime because it didn't look like you were nervous. And they are very enjoyable. Would you like to?
I don't have a choice.
No, you do. You have a choice. There's no pressure. Everyone is welcome to you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gugu, and I've already expressed how much this is not my thing, but I'm here to conquer this morning. My quote is, a positive mind finds opportunity in everything, while a negative mind finds faults in everything. Almost a decade ago, I met a man who I thought was the love of my life, but at the time he definitely wasn't ready for me. And coincidentally at the time I was reading a book called The Secret, you may or may not know it. I got into the zone where I every day imagined this man coming back into my life and saying the things that I wanted him to hear. And if I can tell you right now that it was about a year or so later, I got a phone call randomly from this man, and word for word we had the discussion that I had in my mind. And it was all from the book that I read at the time. And previously I was self-sabotaging. I used to take negative thoughts and I'd wonder why things would manifest. So I'm definitely one for a positive mind to get positive results. If we go back about almost 20 years ago, I did a speech and I absolutely bugged it up. I literally stood in front of a crowd and I went completely blank, and that is where my fear of public speaking came from. So I'm here to correct that. I'm here to turn that around, and I know it's going to happen because a positive mind definitely manifests positive experiences. Thank you so much.
Positive minds are incredibly important, and they do keep those negative thoughts at bay. But what I find even more attractive about positive minds is they attract other positive minds. And then you have room positive energy, which I hope you're experiencing here today. Madam Timekeeper, how much time do we have left before my session is up? I think it's 11:20. I have Mandy, who would consider speaking next if we have time.
Yes, we have time.
Mandy, what's the time?
It's 11:12.
It's got 80 minutes. 7 minutes.
Let's welcome Mandy.
We'll fight over it.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Madam Topic Master. Ladies and gentlemen, my title is Each New Day is a New Opportunity to Improve Yourself. Take it and make the most of it. Couldn't get to the bottom. Every morning I wake up and I say, thank you. I see my bedroom, I see everything that's familiar, and I say, thank you. I start my day with gratitude that I'm alive, something we all take for granted. Albert Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing every day and expecting a different result. How many of us walk through our day and just do the same thing? We don't try and improve ourselves. We don't try anything different. We don't get out of our own way. We stay in the negative. We're like a goldfish going around in a hole. That's all we do. Take the opportunity every day to try and improve yourself. When you lie in bed at night and those thoughts go through your mind, I shouldn't have done this, I should have done that. The next day, wake up and make it better. Say thank you for the day and improve yourself. You have the opportunity every single day. Take it before it's too late. Thank you.
I think it's a great way to start the day, Mandy, and life is so challenging. I also kind of end the day by thanking the man upstairs for everything that went right in the day. So I think it's so important to start and end your day well. I think I have a volunteer who's itching to get up here, am I right? Come on up. Everyone, please welcome Kumo. Would you like to say something?
So my topic is opportunities don't happen, you create them. So this makes me think of a movie that I watched with my friend a year ago, but came out I think 15 years ago, called The Room, by someone named Tommy Wiseau. So it's often named the worst movie that's ever been created, a calamity honestly. It has really bad, the worst acting. Tommy directed the movie, wrote the movie, and starred in the movie himself. So it's truly terrible, and he sought out to make a movie that would be gut-wrenching and make people cry, but instead we all laugh at how bad it is right now. But 20 years later, I think, maybe a little bit less, an artist called James Franco, he recreated exactly how Tommy created the movie about 20 years ago, because he thought it was so interesting how someone could create such a bad movie, but why people love it so much. So to this day, cinemas are filled up, packed with people rewatching The Room because it's so funny and they remember all the lines. So that makes me think about how even though maybe we're not destined to make exactly what we thought we would, maybe we can create opportunities that might leave people with an amazing cult classic and something to show our children.
I'm sorry, I'm really bad at names. Kumo. Yeah. Kumo, you look like a natural speaker. For a visitor, that was very enjoyable. Thank you for itching to get out of your chair and come up here. I have another one. Who would have known? Everyone welcome Ayanda.
So I'm very shy and very soft-spoken, so that's why I'm here. My sister told me about Toastmasters and I will improve and get better. So my quote is, today is an opportunity to get better, don't waste it. So in 2018, last year, I went into labor at 32 weeks. My daughter was born and she was premature. weighing 1.8 kilograms, which was like a calamity for me and my husband. We didn't know what to do, and we spent a month in hospital, every day praying and hoping that she will get better and she will get stronger. And ever since that has happened, I think I've never looked at life the same way. I appreciate everything that happens for me and my family, and I've also gone through some self-awareness just to get better and to be a better person. So part of my self-awareness and having a coach was to come to Toastmasters as well as to have a vision for my life and just to make sure that I'm the best role model for my daughter.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and I'm so pleased for you, your family, and your beautiful daughter. I think that I was very, very concerned that this would be a calamity, and I must have enjoyed myself. So I think it was a success.
Thank you very much there. Okay. As Tanya says, I think we're beginning to have fun, and I think the next thing on the agenda is the evaluation. Mandy, you're going to take the evaluation.
Quick. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Alright, before we get on to my session, can we have time to just report for our table topics? Annika, do you know everybody's names, or can we run through the names as well, so we can vote?
Got the names, thanks.
Awesome, thank you. We're waiting for you.
Okay. Okay. Harold, 2 minutes. Judith, 1 minute 21 seconds. Adrian, 1 minute 49 seconds. Zoe, 2 minutes 28 seconds. I'm not sure if I cheated because I counted when you were showing the picture. Ene, 1 minute 1 second. Ion, 1 minute 35 seconds. Mube, 47 seconds. Lucinda, 2 minutes 4 seconds. Renee, 1 minute 16 seconds. Gugu, 1 minute 37 seconds. Mendy, 1 minute 30 seconds. Kumo, 1 minute 35 seconds. Ayanda, 1 minute 1 second.
Everybody can just vote on their slips and maybe just leave it on your table for your best table topics while we've got the names fresh. Oh, that was when you were talking. Thank you. Oh, wow. Just what to... So you want to collect yourself so we can just get on with the evaluation? Okay, so if you can just leave it on in your glasses on the table, and then Pablo will collect it just now so we stay on time. I am the general evaluator for this morning's session. So the role of the general evaluator is A, to run the evaluation session, and B, to evaluate the meeting as a whole, which I would give my report back on the meeting as a whole later. This evaluation session is a chance for the speakers to get evaluated by evaluators, and that's to help and guide your speaker through feedback, positive feedback, and areas where perhaps they could work on. In this particular club, what we do is we connect with our speaker after they've spoken to discuss how the speech went and give them feedback, and then we connect with the other evaluators so that we could get different viewpoints, because somebody's own evaluation is always tends to be biased and one-sided. So by mixing with both evaluators, in our particular case this morning, I'm able to get Dan's feedback and he's able to get mine. So that is the role of the evaluation session, is for you to be able to understand the positive feedback in your speech and areas to bless you, to improve and to work on. So to start the evaluations, I am evaluating, or the evaluator for Rick's speech. So I will just click into that. Rick, the objective of your speech was to deliver a keynote speech. So it's completely different to a normal speech in the way that you had to deliver a keynote speech to an audience within an audience, if that made sense. You were giving a keynote speech to an audience, but in fact you were presenting it to us. And that was quite a challenge. I do believe that you set the scene really well for us. At the beginning we knew exactly what you were trying to achieve. You had told us that there were students in the audience, you had told us the family members were in the audience as well as the faculty members, and there were people in front of you as well as behind you. So you set the scene for us to know that you were actually addressing that speech to that audience, and then us as a greater audience. You used the word of the day 4 times in your speech. It was something that I did notice, and I'm sure 1 or 2 of them perhaps were already pre-planned, but the rest certainly were not. So it's great that you used that agility inside your speech. I particularly enjoyed your quote about loving to do something, why you love to do something versus the who you're doing it for, why you're doing it versus the who you're doing it. You had beautiful catchphrases in your speech, things like responsible leaders, philosophers that are grounded in realism, building, that your students are there to build their own ladders. So I enjoyed all that kind of philosophy that you brought, that good use of the English language. When you had finished your speech, or while you were doing your speech, I wanted to jump onto Google and see if there was a real place like this, either in Joburg or in Limpopo. It's a bit far for me to travel on a daily basis, but I would. And I just want to know from the audience how many people also felt that they want to do Google or go to a place. Can I just have a show of hands, just off the bat? So well done, Rick. I think in that way you did definitely connect to the audience on a greater level. You didn't leave us with a take home, but you certainly connected with us as an audience on how we can become better people in a collective manner, as well as for ourselves philosophically and in a technical manner through learning. And I enjoyed your speech title, how you took us through what the meanings of Hull was connected to your actual speech name. So thank you for that. And you brought us through why Limpopo, why an academy, and then of course the humanitarian side of it. So all in all, I thought your speech was fantastic. We have mentioned, you and I, that we can use gestures, a bit of different vocal variety, perhaps not sticking too close to your podium, to break that speech that would naturally be a serious speech, because it's a keynote speech, but just to bring that into, to perhaps connect your audience back to you, so that nobody is lost because it is a long speech. Well done. I thought it was fantastic. Please start a school like that. Thanks very much. I'd like to call on Dan, who will be evaluating Lucinda's speech, so please help me welcome Dan.
Thank you, Madam Evaluation Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Lucinda. You turned the calamity into a great opportunity, an opportunity to teach every one of us that sales is not as bad as we think. So how many here are so keen to leave this room, take the phone, call somebody and sell them an insurance? At least you're a bit more comfortable. So Lucinda had a speech that talked about selling, but it was a research project. Okay. And Toastmasters does that. It gives you a specific objective that you need to reach. And what the speech did, it quoted somebody, Simon Sinek, well known, well respected. And the speech introduced the author, a dragon slayer, and a TEDx speaker. So you've got two sources that I believe are credible. She could have come here and said, Wikipedia says, and everyone would have been, or Google says. Google, I can Google. So in terms of achieving your objective, you did well because you had sources and they were credible. I would have loved more facts, more numbers. Do you know that 90% of people would rather be, etc. If, after I've read the book, this is how my life changed. I got a better job, I got this increase, I got that. So those are extra things you put in a speech that you research because you have different types of sources and facts. But what's the point of doing a well-researched speech if doing the actual speech is not properly done? And these are elements that Lucinda used very well in her speech. She had a strong opening. She started with a question. And if you heard the question, you introspect and you become attached to the speech. And as she went to her speech, she told us, she told to us about 3 points. So that sort of gives you an idea in your head. You're looking for 3 points in her speech. Very good technique. And she had energy. I think you probably felt energy in the room and as she spoke and she really turned the calamity into an opportunity because she really reminded herself of the speech and she wrote right this morning. So that's quite a great challenge to everybody. You can handle a calamity to the opportunity. So we talked about the opening, we talked about the structure of the speech and some of the tools she used. Now you get to the closing. Lucinda's closing was a bit fast for me. So if I was in her shoes, what would I do? I would sort of introduce all the facts and talk about it, get towards the end and really slow down. Even take a long, pregnant pause. And after everybody's rested, I repeat the first few things that I promised at the beginning. How many of you are now more comfortable to say? You remember to be positive, to love what you're selling. And after you've got those two things, go out and sell. So she had a great speech, great structure. There's some opportunities for improvement, but I think everybody has always got an opportunity for improvement. But it was so amazing to see the energy, the content, and her giving us something we can use and take with us. Well done, Lucy.
I think our timekeeper had a calamity, which was timing 1 to 2 minutes on the evaluation. I wondered why mine was so rushed, because normally I'm thinking of other things to say. So Rick, I apologize that we had a rushed evaluation there. Thank you, Dan, for evaluating, and thank you, Rick and Lucinda, for coming to the party and saying speeches for us. We really do appreciate it. We all grow and learn from speaking, and we do appreciate it. Can we have the timekeeper's report, please?
Okay, Mandy, there was no calamity with your time, there was a calamity with Dan. You did 3 minutes, 34 seconds, and then did 3 minutes, 14 seconds. And thank you for waking me up.
Okay, so Annika, you are saying that my time was right?
Yes.
2 to 3 minutes, really?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Can we please vote for our best evaluator? It is on your slips, and then Tango will come around and collect the votes for us, and that ties up my role for evaluation check. Thank you very much. Back to you, Adrian.
Okay. Let me just write this one down. Okay.
Perhaps you want to do the grammarian's report and the counter?
You would like me to? Can I?
Yes, we would like you to, please.
Sure. Okay, Adrian, you can sit tight for a bit longer. Please,
Okay,
can we
thank you.
have the grammarian report? Thank you.
Thank you. Evaluation check. I've got the use of the word of the day. Harold, thank you for using it twice. Judith, once. Rick, 4 times. Champion, word of the day. Lucinda, twice. Mandy, once. Dan, twice. Tanya, once. Kumo, once. Very well done. And Ayanda, well done, once. Use of the day. And use of the English language. I didn't pick a particular bad use of the English language. Phrases that I did enjoy a lot with Rick was turning the Japanese's just in time with just too late. The dream of producing citizens for the 21st and 22nd century. The government is not a family business, found particularly enjoyable. And the future is not what it used to be. In Lucinda, phrases used by you I really enjoyed was people buy from people, and I recreated my life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joanne, can you please give us the
Yeah, I'm going to do it from here if you don't mind. I think the standard of speaking was very, very high. There weren't many ums and ahs. None with Judith and Rick, no ums, no ahs, those sort of things. Lucinda, we picked up one ah. Tanya, an Harold, you know. No, we don't know Harold, you're telling me. Adrian, I didn't get anything from you. Zoe, nothing. Gugu, you had 6 ums. Tanya, oh, here's another one. Tanya, 1 Mandy, none. Kumo, an and the under 2 ums.
Thank you very much, Joanne. I appreciate it. Thank you. That now concludes my role as evaluation check. Over to you, Edwin.
Thank you very much.
Check the socks.
Sorry?
Check the socks.
Oh!
Chance, man.
Hey, what you think? When we came in this morning, and we found that the one speaker that we had decided to cancel at the last minute, so we all thought, and then I was thinking how appropriate my choice of word was. We have a calamity, and we were discussing as to what we were going to do. And but what's our theme for the year? Agility. And I think it's been one of the better sessions that we've had in recent times. Everything went very well. It's the first time I see anybody prepare a speech in about 5 minutes. So I was thinking, I wish I could do that. How do you do that?
Our flipping was working. I was thinking, good as for Google.
So that was brilliant. And yeah, I think we sort of learned a lot of things. Certainly I learned in terms of, especially as I'm sort of planning on switching to pathways after I finish my CC10. Rick, I'd love to go to your academy. I must admit. And then, and I've got to go out and sell now, haven't I?
Buy the book. Book's worth buying.
I was just watching your style there in terms of a lot of action there. So, no, I certainly had a lot of fun today. I'd now like to hand over to our president what are the topics that I have to introduce?
To close the meeting.
To close the meeting, and I think to hand out the trophies as well.
That was Adrian's first role as Toastmaster.
First
Yay!
Judging by the applause when we asked him to do it again, it's because we liked it, not because he didn't do it properly. So well done, Adrian.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Two things.
An opportunity I couldn't miss. Practice makes perfect, so it's great.
Next on the agenda is on a point. That's where we have an opportunity to raise anything that we want to, any feedback from the meeting, or any administrative announcements we'd like to make.
Mr. President, can I report back as the evaluation chair of the meeting? I didn't do that in our session just now.
Would you like to do it and I'll sit down again?
No, it's okay if I can just
Then come up here and do it, please.
Right, sorry, we're a bit muddled today. So that's part of my evaluation. So I thoroughly enjoy coming to the meetings as a member, but also as a guest, because I think we actually play both of those roles when we come here. I think we've been having a problem with our aircon, Mr. President, yes? Has it broken, our aircon? I remember our last meeting, it wasn't working.
I'll check that.
Maybe, okay, because it really is very uncomfortable in here. So that was something I noticed. The other thing was, if we are going to have program changes, even though we are agile, my suggestion would be to then recall another 5-minute break, and the correct members need to come together and restructure, because we've got a lot of guests at this meeting, and it seems a little bit disjointed to how I know our meetings normally flow. Table topics, I need to make a comment on that. I thought it was fantastic, lots of fun. I didn't catch the beginning, apologies, but when I walked in I could see all the papers lying around, very colourful, and so well done, and I think everybody enjoyed it. I did see you had lots of volunteers and no victims, and that's always a good thing, so well done. Also, perhaps somewhere in between we can change this. It's something I noticed quite a bit is after our breakfast, is our opportunity just to clear the plates and close the lids, because everything lies and the flies come and it's very distracting. So there needs to be a gap in between the breakfast and the meeting starts somehow. I'm not sure how we can time that a bit better, but it is horrible when the plates are lying around and nobody can get up, and I do tend to get up and take mine away, but it is rude after the meeting has started to stand up and do those things. I just want to thank our guests for speaking, for being agile, Lucinda for acting on the cuff like that. You've got a fantastic energy and it is welcomed in the club. I think Tanya mentioned that it's like-minded things happen, so your energy spins off on other people, and it really has made a difference to our meeting this morning, so thank you very much to that. And to our two speakers, one natural talent, so we'll sign you up immediately. You. I can't, Kuma. And for using word of the day, the two of you, that was really something that stood out for me and very impressive, so well done. And Adrian, a fantastic word, because sometimes we try and find the hardest word of the day, something that people don't actually know. You have found a word that is simple and can actually be used quite often, and I think it's a new word that everybody now can add if they didn't have it in their vocabulary. That is mine, so thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much for that. Next on a point, Johan.
We've got 6 more meetings until our 100th meeting. I'd like the members to put some ideas together as well. What we need is a theme. My daughter recommended that we have prizes. Harold, you said you will try and get us the contact details of the original members so we can send out what invitations to them. But I think a good thing would be to think if people can come forward with a theme for that meeting. The club club manager has granted us an extra 2 hours for the day. And then we're going to have to liaise with the caterer. Okay. If anyone's got any ideas, please let all of us know. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Yeah, it will be founder members and Toastmasters who've been involved with the club from early on. Like Dan, he was attending meetings here before we were even chartered. So we'll try and find. We'll have to dig them up. Okay. Thanks very much, Joan. Anything more? Did anybody? Yes, Rick.
For those who aren't put off with Toastmasters by this meeting, I'd like to just mention some other Toastmasters meetings, if I may. Woodlands Club, which meets at Woodlands Business Park on Tuesday the 5th of February at 6 o'clock in the evening. And that is our competition. It's Woodlands Breakfast Club, but they now meet in the evenings. Then the following Thursday, the 7th, Accenture Toastmasters, who now meet in Midrand at Accenture there. And then the following Tuesday, the 12th, my club, UWP Toastmasters, meeting in Bryanston. Oh, and I shouldn't forget this coming Monday, for those who would like to see advanced speakers giving advanced speeches, Golden Gavel, also in Woodlands Business Park. Thank you, Mr. President.
Newer members, or those that don't know, you can visit any Toastmasters club and get credit for any presentation that you make or any role that you play. So it's transferable from one club to another. Anything else? Dan?
I'm interested to hear what our guests enjoyed in the meeting today, because we've got quite a wide number of guests.
Well, I was going to ask the guests who hadn't spoken yet to each give us feedback on the meeting. So, would that be all right? We start. Just give us some feedback on how you found the meeting.
Okay, it's my first time coming to a Toastmasters. Thanks to Onika for inviting us. And it's a learning opportunity. I find it very beneficial for one to improve, the skill in communication and basically public speaking. Because at work, most of the time I have to do, a lot of speaking as the head of the department that I'm in. So it was a great opportunity to come and mix and see, I'm doing again, and I was trying, it's one of the words that I've actually learned to say, from Onika, that these are some of the things that, you have to be mindful about. So it was very well planned, even though we were running late, but we managed to be on time before everything started. So I will visit again. It's not the closest. I need to check the closest one to me because I live in Valkoyeva.
Closest isn't always best. Would you like to give us some feedback?
Yes, so this is I think the first one. I attended one last year, but this is the first one that I have enjoyed quite a lot. And what I find very surprising is giving forward and giving back. I'm surprised at how much people here are happily putting their time in doing something like this and actually teaching other people. So I am looking forward to being part of that education and helping others as well.
Thanks very much.
I think I was the late culprit, but I think it would be best for me to introduce myself to the larger crowd. I'm Sibongile Boy and Dennis Lampidi. I actually reached out to him because I saw on LinkedIn that he's actually a member of the Toastmasters Club. So I wanted to know further and just to equip myself with this coming year. I am not a natural speaker, but I'm an attorney by profession, which is quite odd. So I've just said to him, you know, with 2019 coming up and being the start of the year, I really want to improve myself and be more comfortable with speaking. Then on the feedback, I really enjoyed the session today. I thought it was barely about talking, but I got a sense of that people you can share your personal experiences as well. Taking from what Lucinda had said, I'm not yet ready to go and sell anything, but I'm greatly happy, so I'll definitely be visiting again.
Good. Thank you very much. Sounds like you're doing a good sales job already.
So this is also my first time. I thoroughly enjoyed as Judith said, the humorous pathways that everyone's taken here. I feel that it's a comfortable relationship dynamics in here that everyone can really be themselves and at the same time work to improve on their public speaking, and that's really what I want to do, so I'll definitely come visit again. Yeah, great breakfast, great environment.
Good, thank you very much. Well, our guests certainly contributed very well, either in impromptu or in feedback, so let's give them a hand. Anything else on a point? I think you're on a blunt now.
At the risk of spoiling the party, I need to remind members that your semi-annual dues are due for March, and you need to start budgeting for it and thinking about it, and the Treasurer needs to start sending out invoices or at least reminders. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The Treasurer would have done that, but he's a bit nervous. He was Toastmaster. Judith.
One last thing. On the 16th of February, there is a Division H COT, which is a club officer training opportunity. It's being held at PwC in Midrand, and it's always worth going to club officer training, even if you're not a club officer, because you start to learn what it involves when you actually get volunteered for a position.
Is the PwC building that twisted one?
Yes.
In Midrand. Is that building safe?
Well, I know the architect, so it should be.
You know the architect?
Yes.
That's no recommendation from me, I'm sorry. If there's nothing else on a point, I have some awards to hand out. And I would like to start with the best evaluator. And could I have a drum roll, please? And our good friend, Dan McKenzie.
Who takes pictures? Photos?
We have to have a picture.
Where's something?
I have that back, please. Well done. Pose for the picture. Thanks, Dan. Well done. 13 table topics. Can you believe it? That's a lot.
Wow.
To choose a best table topic was quite difficult. But I think the winner actually just deserves it. Just give a big round of applause. Have a best speaker for the day. And it was a somewhat shorter list than the table topics. Also quite difficult to decide, but in the end, drum roll. Lucinda.
Well, I'll tell you about later.
And at the discretion of the President, we have what we call the Genie Award, which I can award for role play or something that somebody did in the meeting. And I was really impressed with how the table topic session went. We started off and then suddenly there was just volunteers everywhere. And I think that was just a testament to the way you really ran it well. So Genie Award goes. Our next meeting is in 2 weeks' time. Is it 2 weeks' time? No. I'm sorry, the second Saturday in February. I can't work it out right now. So I think it's 2 weeks' time.
There's some of you are funny. January is very long.
9th of February.
9th of February. That is 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much. I think we can expect some more fireworks from the Sopranos TV show that we're watching with the State Capture Commission. Zoe, can you wait till I'm finished, please? I've been wanting to do that all year. Hope you enjoyed the meeting. I certainly did. Didn't turn into a calamity, as they said.
Success.
Yes, we had success.
And fun.
Yes. Success and club.
Fun.
And fun. Sorry. Yes, indeed. So, thank you all. Thank you for your contribution. See you in 2 weeks' time.
Let me go first.
Launches are awesome, so I just happened to hit on a few useful buttons. Sadly not yet.
I thought you would do it.
Very nice to meet you.
You just put your dress in here. So it's got to be available. I'm running out. I'm going to drive. Literally going to drive. And then go ask your dress. What are you doing? So you're on a wear and shirts.
Yeah, I'm like everything is exactly the same as us. Same as us.
Yeah. I'm speaking next week. So I'm speaking next week is my leadership next speech. Next week